Hello, my name is Ben Tibbetts, and I am a pianist and composer working in the area of Austin, Texas. This past year, my teaching studio grew a lot. This time last year, I had about 30 students, something like that, and now I have about 50 students. And the reason I have that many more students is because I started renting this office full-time. So I had a lot more time on my hands to work and to make music and teach lessons. A quick message to my students before I forget. The recital video is now on YouTube, and I'm going to include a link to that video in the description, which is below this video. I'm really proud of all of you. I thought that was the best recital so far that you guys did. I saw a lot of improvement this year from really all of my students. So the first thing that happened this year was a concert called Curses, which was a collaboration between the writer poetry group Typewriter Rodeo and a group I'm a part of, which is called CTC, or Central Texas Composers. Basically, Curses was a very eclectic mix of art songs that were all around the theme of, let's say, the word curses. One song was about magical spells, like a curse, a magical spell. Another song was about cursive, like writing in cursive. There was one that was about swearing, bad words, curses. It was just this creative potpourri of almost the results of writing prompts. There were a couple of opportunities this year to compose for media. The first is actually the one I'm the most proud of, which is I was able to help one of my students, my composition student, Vaibhav, compose music for an original video game. This was a project that we began last year. I mentioned it in my previous video, but it was finally released this year. And my student Vaibhav wrote all the music, and it came together beautifully. We posted it online. And, Vaibhav, if you're watching, I'm super proud of you, man. I thought it came out really well. A couple of things that I wrote music for. Early on this year, I composed some music for an animation project that's still in the works by my friend Janina Putzker. Jani, is a super talented animator who is working on a film called Hook in the Mouth. It's very adult, it's not for kids, but it should be a lot of fun, and I wrote music for that at the beginning of the year. I also arranged some music for a music video, which I also appeared in, called Not Yet, and this was with my friend Ashten Falter. Ashten is a filmmaker in the area, and an actress, and a musician and dancer, and she wanted to produce a music video around the piano piece Clair de Lune. But she didn't want it to just be the piano piece. She wanted it to be an arrangement of Clair de Lune such that it expanded beyond the piano, included other instruments beyond the piano. It was filmed at Mozart's Coffee Roasters in Austin. It featured Sheila Va, the flutist, and Caroline McGee, the cellist, and both of whom I'd never worked with before, but I was very happy to make music with them. And I thought they did an incredible job. Lots of singers this year. I accompanied a lot of vocalists. And the ones that stand out are, number one, a Valentine's Day concert through the organization 1 Ounce Opera. 1 Ounce got a couple of singers together to perform sort of romantic love songs from the classical repertoire. This included performances by Carly Abschneider and Katie Winchester and Kevin Diaz. Similarly, I got to play with Inversion, which is one of my favorite groups in the area. I had 2 concerts with the Inversion choir this year. The first was at the Austin Public Library. The concert was just called Inversion at the Library. And I had the chance to perform at the Here Be Monsters festival this summer. It was Inversion and I on stage with an electric organ performing an original oratorio by James Takata Lee. Other performances. Oh, I got to play with Sam Levreault again. Sam is always excellent. She's a flutist who's currently getting her doctorate up at the University of North Carolina, Greensboro. And I flew up there to play a couple of pieces with her at this gorgeous recital hall. And we played the Prokofiev Flute Sonata. She did a solo piece. And we did a piece by Casella, Alfredo Casella. A couple of other things that maybe I'll mention briefly, but I don't really have recordings to share for you, but I did do a ton of playing for young artist competitions in the area. This is when I get to play with high school students who are competing against each other in a school setting to see who can best play a sonata for their instrument or a concerto or some showy soloistic piece. I did this at Cedar Park High School, at Cedar Ridge, and Vandegrift, and those events are very time consuming because the students are good, they're really good, and I have to practice a lot, and I also have to coach them insofar as that's appropriate and useful. Other things. I tried really hard to improve my orchestrating abilities this year, my orchestration chops. I'm taking orchestration lessons with my friend Keith Allegretti, the same Keith, and this has been really helpful because, if nothing else, Keith is already providing a lot of advice that I can use, but it's more than just advice. It's having a deadline every 2 weeks or so for which I have to produce something. I have a commission I wanted to talk about. It's for 1 Ounce Opera. It was premiered at the Here Be Monsters event. I was hired to produce an aria, and we were given a lot of freedom with what we could do, but I chose to do an aria in the style of Mozart. I wrote a parody of the Queen of the Night aria, which, in a kind of cheeky way, is called the Queen of the Morning After. The last thing I wanted to share from this year, and I know I'm throwing a lot out, but I am trying to summarize an entire year here, was a concert I did in September called the Riddles Recital. Now, the Riddles Recital was basically the brainchild originally of my friend Amy Herman. Amy wanted to set some text to music, and she was looking for public domain material that she could use, and she happened across this set of medieval poems called the Exeter Riddles. Like any set of poetry, they provided certain challenges as a composer. I was writing for Old English for the first time, which was very interesting and very new for me. I barely ever write for anything outside of English, and this was super not English. So I had a great time doing it. It was with Amy Herman, and it was also with Keith Allegretti, who had some pieces performed at that concert as well. So that's it for professional projects. On the personal side, I had obviously a very busy year, probably a little too busy, to be honest with you. And one of the things I kind of did for myself was I decided to move. I moved from my apartment where I was living with some roommates to an apartment down the road from my office, which was the main reason for moving. I can walk to work, first off, if I really want to, but I can drive to work in like 3 to 5 minutes. As far as hobbies and things, I've been learning the guitar. Maybe I'll show you a little bit, actually. Hang on. So, I'm not good, but I am working on it. So I can play some chords like E, G, D, A minor, B7. So I can kind of find my way around a lot of common songs. Let's see, but I can get up a lyrics here. rosemary and thyme, remember me to one who lives there. She once was a true love of mine. So yeah, I can play a little guitar. That was the thing I worked on. Also, I'm still playing at Trinity Church every week. And I'm really grateful for that because it gives me an opportunity to perform. It gives me good performance practice every week, and it makes sure that I don't let my chops slip too far. So thank you to Trinity Church and to Tim, if you're watching. I appreciate you putting up with me. And this is the end of the year, just about. We're about halfway through December now, or about a third of the way. And I'm starting to think about the future, as you do this time of year. I've been in the habit the last couple of years of setting themes at the beginning of the year instead of resolutions. For some reason, this works better for me. What I've done is given myself a word to remind myself of something that I want to do, and or a phrase. This past year was Netflix or bust. And what I meant by that for myself was I wanted to participate in something on Netflix or on a streaming platform. I wanted to in some way be connected to TV and to show business and that whole world. And I actually did manage to fulfill this hope for the year because I was an extra on the show 1923, which is a sequel to the TV show Yellowstone. This is not through Netflix, but through Paramount. And it came about because I have a friend who was associated with the production, and I saw the article that they needed extras for a scene that they were shooting not too far from here. And so I spoke to my friend and asked if maybe he could recommend me or pass along my name. And one thing led to another, and I was actually part of that day of shooting, which was super cool. The show will be coming out in February, I think, and I might make an appearance. Who knows? You might see my elbow in the corner of the frame or something. So I did fulfill my theme for the year, but I do feel like it was just barely. You know, it would have been more fun if I had managed to snag like a scoring job for some show. Like, that would really be amazing. It's a childhood dream of mine to be a film composer, whatever that still means. I guess what it means to me is I feel like I have something inside of me, a collection of ideas and aesthetic preferences in music and a desire to tell stories. I don't know what my New Year's theme is going to be yet, but things are definitely looking up. I don't know, I do feel pretty lucky, so could be worse. And that's it. I'll try to make the next video update maybe not a year from now, because this is a lot of stuff to talk about. Yeah. Thanks for listening.